Good morning, everybody. We are at the first day of a brand new month. We have made it to November, and I like to take a little bit of time at the start of each month to talk about the month that we just had and the month that we hope to have going forward. So let's go ahead and jump right in to talking about October here on YouTube, and eventually we make our way to talking about what we hope happens in November. So, October here on YouTube was great. It wasn't quite as active as September was because October had the Seahawks bye week. And when you have a bye week, there's going to be very little going on for almost 7 days. Like you try to find things that are interesting to dive into a little bit. You might venture out a little bit into non-Seahawks stuff. You might do some video game stuff. You might do some Mariners or Husky stuff just to occupy the time. But actually, this year, the Seahawks and Huskies both had their bye week on the same week. So even that didn't work out that well. So for a month, it was just kind of slow. And then other than that, things were great. Things were awesome. So I want to say thank you to everybody who made this such a fantastic month here on YouTube. I fell into my typical rhythm of making those daily scheduled videos where there are certain things that we just consistently break down on the channel as time goes by, and that's all obviously always going to be kind of a staple of the channel, and that's been going so really well so far this year. That's been something that I've been doing for a few years now. It's a good way to maintain some regularity and balance, so that's good. And then, of course, you get your news, you get your breaking news, you get your occasional need for deeper dives and discussions into certain topics, and you get a pretty consistent flow of 4 to maybe even 5 videos a day. So when the Seahawks are actually playing football, we've been able to maintain that at a really reliable pace. It's been great. Um, Live streams, of course. We do a live stream for every Huskies game, live stream for every post game Seahawks. Two, sometimes three shows a week with the Hawks Nest. It's been great. So we've fallen into the rhythm of the NFL season, and I'm really happy about it. The Seahawks even made a significant trade deadline deal, which gave us even more to dive into as the as it became clear that the team was really going to go for it this season. So all around, great month of August here on YouTube. Just mostly kind of the typical stuff. But that's the great thing about this channel. Even the typical stuff is always interesting because every week there's new stuff to talk about, and even just talking about the same things on a cycle like Snap Count Monday or Youth Watch Tuesday, it gives you plenty to dive into from week to week. We also had things like, Frank Clark. He came back to Seattle, and that was obviously very interesting to some people. And obviously, that's going to get some attention because Frank Clark is a generally well liked player from the Seahawks past. So things like that always draw more interest in. And all in all, it was a really good month. I think this is actually the second month ever on this channel during a season where I got 500,000 views in just that month. I may have done it during the draft last year, but outside of that, I usually don't get up that high. So that speaks to how great things are going. I want to thank everybody who made it possible. There is we didn't quite get to the subscriber goal, but I made that sub goal forgetting that there was a bye week. And honestly, if there wasn't the bye week, we probably would have gotten there. I said 14,900. As of the month turning over, it was 14,825 approximately. So we were 75 short. So if we had a game instead of a bye week in October, probably would have worked out pretty good. So that stuff is all going great. No real complaints there. Just continuing to churn out videos, and people continue to have appreciation for it. Um, the one thing that I have noticed this year is that the college football stuff has lost a decent amount of steam. Now, I still want to continue to do it because it helps when the draft season gets here and I know what to talk about and what to look at and what to basically how to judge these prospects well ahead of time. But I have noticed compared to last year, the interest level in the college football related stuff, and I don't mean the Huskies. The Huskies stuff is actually doing really good, comparatively speaking, but the college football prospect stuff, it's just not really pulling in that much attention this year. And maybe it's because the team is better. Maybe it's because we're not as convinced that we need to find our QB of the future in the draft the way we were last year, especially early on when we didn't know what Geno was going to do. We thought, of course, we're going to be drafting a quarterback high in this draft, but absent that desire, it seems like that kind of stuff has become less interesting. I'm going to continue to make those videos, but I have noticed that that is the one thing that has really kind of fallen by the wayside on this channel. All right, so November, pretty straightforward. We've got 4 games, I believe, in the month, and we're gonna get into the hard stuff, right? We've got this game against Baltimore. That's a really good opponent. That's gonna be a really hard game to win. And then you've got the Commanders and the Rams. That's not so bad. But then you get into the gauntlet where you're playing the Cowboys, you're playing the Niners, you're playing the Eagles, and you could play good football and still get beat up over the course of that stretch just by virtue of the fact that your opponents are really good. So that's definitely going to be, we're getting to crunch time. We're going to find out if this team is good or great. Like the first couple months have told us this team is good, but now we need to find out, are they great? Are they a Super Bowl contender or just a playoff contender? So that's definitely going to be a very intriguing storyline for the month of November. We're not really going to find out for sure until later in the month, right? Because we do have to get through those 2 somewhat softer games. But things are going to blow up very quickly. And if the team does not bring their A game consistently, they're going to drop some games, period. And we're going to probably come out of the late November, early December stretch disappointed. Let's put it that way. But I'll be following it all here on YouTube, whatever happens, good or bad. And what I can say is that they've set themselves up well, but they haven't given themselves a ton of breathing room to play poorly against those really good teams. They're going to have to find a way to win some of those exchanges. So that's mostly just what November is going to consist of here on YouTube. I don't think there's anything too remarkably special coming up. Next week, we're going to be doing the college prospect show with the Hawk's Nest, which I think that's a little more interesting for some people when when you have 2 people discussing prospects in college football. But even those shows, they don't get the attention the way the pregame and postgame streams do, of course. So that is going to be coming up next week. But other than that, it should be a pretty typical month here on YouTube. There's no trading anymore. The trade deadline was yesterday, so no more trading. Very unlikely the Seahawks make any significant moves in terms of like free agency because there really aren't big free agents left. The only real curveball would be if the Seahawks extended one of their current players, like if they decided to extend Leonard Williams this month, or I don't know, Damian Lewis, or somebody like that. That could happen. Other than that, I think we'll just be talking about the games and the news and the injuries as they break. So it should be a typical but nevertheless really good month on November. Looking forward to it, hoping to get up to somewhere around 15,200 subs by the end of the month. I think we can do it. And real quick on Twitch, it was a great October on Twitch. Things really kind of expanded out a little bit, I felt like. Again, I've noticed that the Twitch is more active during the season. And again, I've said this before, I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought it was going to be the Twitch would be more active during the off season. That has not been the case at all. I think it was a really good month on Twitch. Most of the streams had double-digit viewers, which for me is quite good. And we played a wide variety of games, which is something that I hadn't done a lot of lately. Lately, I've been rotating between like 3 games, and those games tend to be longer, so it takes me more than a month to get through them. So in previous months, I would play like 3 different games, and that was it. This month, we were able to finish Baldur's Gate 3, and I was able to spice things up a little bit within that. I was able to do a little bit of a meme games. I was able to do a few streams of Papa's Burgeria, which we're going to do more of in November, I think. We did a couple streams of Spider-Man 2, which I'm going to be doing a lot more of in November. We did some Starfield, of course. We're still working through that. I'm still going to try to beat that in November. But the main highlight on Twitch in October was Horror Week, the last month of October, the 24th through or I think it was the 25th through the 31st. Then we did a variety of horror games. We did Resident Evil 7. That was kind of the main event. And then we mixed it up with other indie horror games, Amanda the Adventurer, Choo Choo Charles, a bunch of SpongeBob horror games, Poppy Playtime, just a bunch of horror games that caught on for a brief period of time, couple within the last couple of years. Some of them were meme games, some of them were actually good games, but they were all horror games, and that was great. Basically playing a different game every single day, and we were able to get through everything that I wanted to get through before the week was over. So, Horror Week on Twitch was a ton of fun, but it's over now. November, I can tell you, is mostly going to be Spider-Man 2. That's all I'm going to play for basically the next week on Twitch in all likelihood. And it's going to be some daytime streams as well because I'm taking some time off from work. So if you come by in the earlier hours, like early afternoon, maybe even morning, I'll probably be doing some Spider-Man 2. After that week is over, I'll probably be back on some Starfield trying to get through that because it's time to finally beat that thing. And at that point, that's probably going to get us through most of the month. I'm probably going to get back to Animal Crossing at some point, but I need to kind of prioritize getting through those two games in particular because they've been dangling. Well, not Spider-Man, but Starfield's been dangling for a while. Got to get through it eventually. Okay, so that's basically all I can say about the YouTube stuff and the Twitch stuff in terms of what has come and what is coming. One thing that I do want to say, and this could be happening as soon as today, I am starting an official Facebook page. I know that Facebook is not the most used thing in my demographic of viewers, but for those of you out there who do use Facebook, pretty soon here I'm going to be showing a new official page for Seahawks Brendon Nelson, and I plan on posting my videos there going forward. I figure it can reach a different audience. It's a different way to get the content out. And there are going to be people out there who find my stuff there that would have never found it on YouTube because they're not on YouTube for one reason or another. And that's going to be one of my big projects for November, getting the Facebook page up and running, trying to get some people on it. And my goal is to kind of really expand out into these other websites. Like I want to start posting my videos on X, and I want to start posting stuff on Instagram as well. I want to expand out a little bit. And it's going to start probably later today on Facebook when I start posting videos over there. When I do, I'll make a separate video announcing the grand opening, as it were. But hopefully it works out. Hopefully things go well over there. But if you, for whatever it's worth, if you're watching my videos on YouTube right now, then continue to do so. It's probably still going to be the best way to watch my stuff. Facebook is just going to give me a venue to do things that YouTube doesn't make super convenient, like things like pictures, things like experiences that are hard to capture in a video upload format, but Facebook makes easier. So definitely continue to watch me on YouTube if that's what you've been doing. That is still going to be the best place. But for those of you out there who are on Facebook, you'll be able to catch the occasional you'll be able to, well, I don't want to say occasional, but you'll be able to occasionally catch me there with something that I don't post on YouTube. All right. See you guys later. I'll talk more about that as the month goes on because, again, it's also going to be X and Instagram. But I'm going to have to continue to work on that. That's not something you can just do instantaneously. All right. So that's it. I'll see you guys later on. Go Hawks. Bow down to Washington. And thank you for the great month here on YouTube. And I'm looking forward to another great one here in November.